Well, hello, it's Cliff here. If you don't know me already, I'm a toolmaker from New Zealand and I've been developing this crazy invention, ThreadExpress, that cuts threads and indexes as an attachment on your milling machine. In this video I'm going to be finishing off production run of parts for ThreadExpress, the main spindle and nut assemblies. But I'm just going to cut in before that video with a little bit of news. You're probably aware that Mark Presling has a video build series based on his YouTube channel in Australia, where he goes through building a ThreadExpress, and he's wrapping that up now, just finishing it off, and he has the plans and drawings all available, and we've uploaded them to my website, hallmarkdesign.co. I'll just quickly go through how you can navigate that and get that information. If you're unfamiliar with ThreadExpress, I'll put in a very short clip now just showing you what it can do, and then after that little bit of news we'll get on with finishing off these spindles and some interesting machining tips and tricks in there. Just lift it into place, not too heavy, slip the stud in, turn the turret round, well, let's just talk briefly about what's available online. So if we go to our internet browser and start typing in the website address, which is hallmarkdesign.co.nz, we'll get to Hallmark Design's website. This is the website where I sell the probes that I make and so on. But if you look right over on the right hand side over here, you'll see ThreadExpress. So let's click on there. Now, ThreadExpress is a development hobby project and not part of Hallmark Design, but I'm using their website for this. So in the beginning you'll see links to the videos. You can just watch them directly here on the website. I don't think you get any ads if you do that, but if you click here down in this little bottom corner here, you can watch on YouTube. Let's just click over to there, turn the speaker off, or we'll get bombed with ads. Now if we look over here, there's all of the ThreadExpress playlist videos. There's 18 different videos there, and you can click on those and watch all of those videos. Okay, so let's go back to the website. So now if we scroll down the page of ThreadExpress, first of all there's a PDF that Mark and I put together, just sort of introducing ThreadExpress, 2 pages of text there. And then if we carry on, well, let's just go through that quickly. So you can see there's information and introduction, ThreadExpress history, notes on construction, files and license to build, and YouTube video links. Now if we scroll down a bit further, there's a bit of a memo here. Thinking of building your own ThreadExpress, download of files and license. So some of you will be interested in this. It's a purchase by donation model. Click on the Buy Me a Coffee link below and enter an amount you think is fair. Some terms and conditions there. And then if we carry on down, there's the Buy Me a Coffee link. And then below that is all of the information. So we have 41 technical drawings. This is the main set of plans. So if we click here on the download, we'll just download that now. It won't take a second if my internet connection's working all right. Okay, so now we have 41 plans. So in the beginning there's some nice looking assembly drawings, and then we get down to individual components. So they are in PDF form, so you can print them out in A4, or if you want to go to a printer that's got A3, you can print them out full size. Maybe you want some of the parts printed out full size, and other parts can be just more compact A4s that you can readily stick on a clipboard in your workshop. So right down to finally some sub-assemblies here at the bottom. Mark's made a really beautiful job of these drawings. Okay, so let's go back to the website, and finally there's unusual files that can't be attached directly to the website, CAD files and other special files. So we'll just highlight that big long link there. See, it says here Dropbox files, link below, copy and paste to browser URL. So let's just go back to the browser URL. We've copied and now we're going to paste, and we did something wrong there. So let's try again. Copy. I'm talking too much and not thinking enough, and we're going to pop it in there at that top user URL. And see here, the second one down is in black. We're going to click on that. That's going to take us through to Dropbox. And here you can see there's a folder that's opened, and there's 4 folders within that folder. So you're looking at the Dropbox page, and let's say you want to download your files. So let's just click here on the top ones, the 3 support documents, just tick them there, and you can see here now you can download. Well, look, let's just download those files. Okay, so up here we have the downloaded files. Open the files, 3 support documents. Okay, let's click on those. So one of those is the stock list. There's stock parts that are available online, if you're lucky. So here Mark has made a list of different components. Here we are, internet links for off-the-shelf items over on the side here. So we can just click on this link that he's prepared. I'll do that now, the top one, 3-jaw chuck. Well, let's do the bevel gears, the second one. That's a bit more interesting. So that's going to take you straight through, in this case, to AliExpress, and you can see the bevel gears. Oh, that's brilliant, isn't it? And so that is the method for downloading. So you want the 5 files for the sheet patterns and sheet metal patterns and scales. You just click there, download to your computer, and then you can open them up with your CAD software, send them off to your sheet metal person to get them laser cut or whatever. Same for all the other files. There's photographs of different key components. Let's go back to, and there's some solid files here, 9 step files for some key components. Some of you will have CNC machines and may want to machine some of the parts up by CNC and drill holes and so on. Okay, so going back to the website, so then we have completed looking at all the various documents that are available. So the 41 PDFs directly on the website, and the link there to the Dropbox for the more complex files that can't easily be loaded onto the website. I'm going to finish making these ThreadExpress spindles. There'll be various machining operations, and I'll have a bit of a discussion as well. Hopefully not too much verbal diarrhea. Cheers. So I'm roughing out the ER32 with a tungsten carbide boring bar, but I prefer to use high-speed steel for the finishing tool because I can lap it and it holds a really good edge, a bit of high grade, high cobalt, high-speed steel. I set the top slide at 8 degrees initially, but that's unlikely to be highly accurate. Finally, tap it a little bit either side and juggle the angle by a few thou until you get a really good transfer
of bearing blue, and also no apparent rocking around this periphery edge, or no gap, so it's really steady in there. And that's checking that you've got a true match and not just dialed it on your top slide dial. Well, let's check it for concentricity. I put on a 6mm collet and ER32 nut, put a dial indicator on there, that's really good. But of course I'm also checking the collet and the nut itself. They happen to be good also in this case. I bought in a couple of extra collet nuts, so I guess I'll try those as well now. Okay, let's test this nut to see if it's okay. I mean, the potential is if they're made inaccurately, they can bias the collet off sideways. You know, in theory, the concentricity relies on an accurate nut and collet and ER bore and thread. They all have to be concentric, so if any one of them is out, it will likely throw it off. It seems to be fine. It's not pushing it over. It's within a micron or so. Pretty impressive, really. It's not really branded, but seems to be without serious error. And finally, setting up the other end to cut the thread for the spindle bearing thrust nut. Because I'm gripping it in a 3-jaw, I'm checking that it's running true. I want the center to support it, but not to push it into alignment. So I probably don't need to go through the stages of machining for this end. It's basically the same as the other end, using the same tools, the same tool offset system, and I'm going to finally cylindrically grind those bearing diameters on my cylindrical grinder. So that's the final bit of the turning. It's just the thread on this end. Same tool offsets, same procedure, little localized drawing. These are all good habits and disciplines to get into, and if you get a job again, you know, the customer wants another one, you just pull your drawing out of your folder, that customer's folder, and you can quickly replicate what you did last time without having to go through all the long-winded process of finding out all the details. Well, that's those 5 parts, those 5 ThreadExpress spindles finished now. I've really enjoyed making them. It's a reasonably efficient way to produce parts in a small batch production of about 5. Obviously the prices still would be too high, not suitable for long-term supply, but a lot more efficient than making one. You start to get some of the benefits from scale and repetition by making, say, 5 parts. but I wouldn't want to scale it up and make large quantities. I've done that plenty of times in the past, making 50 or 100 or 200 highly complicated parts. It's just a really big project and it's really tedious. You know, you really need a big high-end CNC cylindrical grinding shop where you can thread grind and mass produce the parts in runs of several hundred in order to get the price down. And I just can't do that type of work, and it would be far too tedious to do it manually. So this is not a viable product to supply commercially. I can make a few runs of 5, you know, if there's demand there, perhaps a few times over, but I can't get the price down low, and it would be too tedious to attempt to make them long term in big quantities. I know some of you are thinking, well, just get them in from China, send the drawings to China and find a good supplier, or, you know, some third world country. And yeah, I've done that myself in the past, and it isn't an easy process. There are some really good manufacturers in China with very good quality work, and when I first received parts like this in the past and studied them, I've just been blown away by the quality and the price, and studied them and just absolutely amazed how they could be made for such a low price. You know, and of course the Chinese have government and council subsidy of raw materials, of the lease of their machines, of power, and their wages are very low. And there's probably other incentives too, and control over their exchange rate, which allows them to make parts for ridiculously cheap prices. But the problem is, you sell out eventually and you get another order, and they've got a change of staff, or they've got too much work on, and they make a little mistake, and they ship you 200 parts that have got an error hidden inside them. And you might miss it initially, but eventually when you find this deep-seated error in concentricity or something, it just can't be fixed. You've got a real problem. You try contacting them and they don't want to take responsibility for it, and they've got a different manager, and it's just a nightmare. Honestly, that type of admin nightmare is something I don't want to get involved in. There's plenty of other types of people, different personalities, that can handle that type of stress better than me. That's not my thing. I've tried that, I've been there, I've done that, and I go back to making the parts myself, where I can control the quality control and just have a small business with a small amount of income. But in this case, it's not even a business. These spindles and other parts, if I make them for ThreadExpress, is a hobby, a labour of love, something I really enjoy. I may make some more in the future for other folk. We'll just see how it goes. Let me know in the comments what you think about this subject. It's fascinating to me. So if you're interested in a spindle and nut assembly for your ThreadExpress build, have a look at the details on the website. Stay tuned, I'll be making more videos. I thought I'd try a carbide insert type thread boring tools for internal threading. Try using those as a thread milling cutter. Be lots of interesting videos. Please stay tuned. If you found something useful there, please like and subscribe if you're not already. Thanks for watching, guys. Cheers.